Hi folks, and welcome to Schick Happens. In today's Ohio Country Life vlog, we finally got a little bit of t-shirt weather. It's around 62, 63 degrees, and I definitely want to get some things done today. I want to get some more birdhouses hung. I want to get that asparagus bed cleaned out and salted. I'm smoking some catfish over here, which is going to be another whole video in itself, and a few other things. Stick around. Well, this catfish is smelling good. Last night, Lori and I fished in the river across the street. We finally got a nice mess of catfish. And these have been in the smoker for a couple hours now. They got a couple more hours to go. I'm looking forward to having my first batch of smoked catfish this year. But again, I put together a whole another video on smoking these catfish. I don't know if it'll air before this or after this video, but look out for it. Another thing I think we're going to end up having to do today for the first time this year is get the lawn mowed. Usually it's around the second week of April before we have to do that, but there's some pretty tall patches in here that you're just going to need to get mowed. But before we do that, I do want to get some more birdhouses hung up on the back of the garage here. As I had talked about in a previous video, the back side of our garage here, I put up all lattice for our morning glories. I completely covered the whole wall, the vinyl siding. And believe it or not, when those morning glories come up, it does look beautiful in the back side of here. But I also like to dot this with birdhouses. I got a few up the other day and just finished another batch that are painted. I want to get those hung up now. I think this double decker could look good right in the center of that window. That ought to do it, and maybe next spring I'll get another 6-7 of them up on the back side of the garage here. I think before I get started on these asparagus beds, I'm going to try to get at least one of the mowers going for my wife. She's getting antsy to get the lawn mowed, or at least part of it for the first time, so I think that's what I'm going to do now. Well, the last time this Simplicity was ran was, I'm going to say, the second week of October. So it's been a while. Fingers crossed. Is this where the green jokes start flying? Well, I couldn't get the newer one to start. Kind of drained the battery out. So I got that on charge. I need to see if I can find some starting fluid or something. So I'm going to try the old Simplicity, see if I can fire that one up. A little bit of green and grass and weeds coming up in these asparagus beds, but usually about this time of year that always happens. But I'm going to go ahead and get these asparagus trimmed right down to the root. I don't want to pull them out, obviously, but I'm going to get them trimmed down to the root, and then I'm going to get a layer of salt on here. Asparagus is one of the few plants out there that is salt tolerant. It doesn't bother it a bit, but it'll help keep the weeds down in these asparagus beds throughout the season. And then each fall I'll add more nutrients and compost into the beds to help beef that dirt back up. But if you have asparagus beds, I strongly encourage you to try using a layer of salt on them before they start sprouting in the early spring as a weed barrier. So the salt I use on here, the same stuff I get at the box store, Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot for driveway and for the sidewalk. This bed here, this first bed, about 2.5, 3 feet by 10 feet long, and it took about a gallon and a half of salt. So I got this one done, I got one more to do. And I see my rhubarbs coming up. I just planted these last year. Might be another year or so before I want to harvest them, but I definitely wanted to get some rhubarb going because I love strawberry rhubarb pie. These are looking pretty good. Alright, both asparagus beds are done, salted. What little bit of green's coming up, I'm sure that salt's going to take care of that grass and weeds that are in there. These should be good to go now for the season. I do have a couple strawberry patches that I need to get cleaned out, and I'll probably start on that next weekend. The garden area behind me here, probably in 2 weeks, is when I'll get this sprayed, tilled up, and get my wall-to-wall onions and potatoes in. And then right around Mother's Day, we'll get the rest of the stuff planted. This smoked catfish has about another hour to go, but I can tell you it is looking and smelling great. Let's take a peek quick. That's going to be some good eating. I did finally get the other mower going, but Lori's about done with the lawn, so, and no, that wasn't by design. I don't know that I'm going to get to it today, but another project, probably tomorrow, that I'm going to have to get done is I need to get in this chicken coop and get the floor cleaned out. It's getting built up pretty good and it's just way overdue. Fortunately, they're going to start using that run a little more with the weather breaking and getting a little bit nicer. And I also need to get the heated water bowl out of there and get the hanging 2.5 gallon water. I know we still might get some frost, but I think the hard freezes are behind us. Thanks for joining me here today on Schick Happens. I hope you enjoyed this Ohio country life vlog. I sure enjoyed videoing it and being out in this decent weather. It's been a long time since we've had t-shirt weather, and we were able to get a few things done. If you enjoyed these videos and others, and you've not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. and I hope everyone is staying safe. Cheers.